3.5 years ago. I was kind of bummed out. Wife asked me, what's wrong? I was just tired of what I'm doing. She says, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to make a movie. So she says, well, do it. Always wanted to do a horror film. I called Rob up and I said, hey man, let's just make a movie. And he's like, okay. Met Rob and Norb and they were like, we're in.
It's an ambitious film with all the different gags we have, from stunts to the car flips, the makeup effects. It's definitely a lot that I don't think most independent films would normally try to tackle.
You did this to me! Frayed's basically a slasher film with a twist. Kurt came up with the initial idea of capturing a murder on tape. We grew up watching these movies in the 70s and 80s that had tons of suspense, very little blood, but were scary as heck. And so we wanted to recapture that kind of feel in a movie. That's what we think we got with Frayed. Less gore, more scares.
Well, this actually all really began a long time ago, back in our elementary school days, where Rob, Kurt, and we used to make our own little short horror films. For a long time, we had dreams of making a big feature film like this, but it just never happened until years later. Here we go, the two directors. It's like this out-of-body tingly experience.
I got that same tingly feeling.
We're excited. The weather couldn't be any better.
This was an incredibly ambitious shoot. A 22-day schedule, most of it at night. We were extremely fortunate to end up with some of the best crew from the Northwest, like Carl Bauer, our DP, Neil Holcomb, who was our gaffer. Everybody on the crew, to the assistants, were all top-notch.
Okay, sound spade.
Go AMR.
Action. And cut!
That's it.
There you go.
That was the one. We had an outstanding cast. Within the state of Washington, we were able to get some of the finest actors we could ever imagine.
The character that I play, Pat, keeps a lot inside, but he's not very emotional. Where he starts and where he ends are completely different. Totally unexpected turn.
I play Jolene. She's Sarah's stepmother and Pat's second wife.
Her name is Sarah. She's a very strong person because she's been through a lot. And I think anyone who sees the film will say, hey, I know somebody like that, or can feel for her.
My character's name is Veronica. She's the sassy, slutty best friend that you always want to be. So that's a lot of fun for me as an actress to be able to play the bad girl that gets to be killed.
One of the big production gags that we pulled off was the car flip. Instead of hiring a Hollywood stunt team to come out, it cost thousands of dollars. We devised this fork system that went into a loader bucket and extended out 20 feet. We were able to push the car sideways down the highway and then pull back on the bucket, and it flipped the car. We ended up doing the real thing and nailed it. During that intense 22-day shoot, we definitely had our challenges.
We're gonna beat the rain tonight.
Rain started to come down a little bit, getting heavier and heavier and heavier. We're witnessing the downpour.
Condors had 2 flats in one day, and our generator went down.
We're not eating until we get these shots.
Carl, should I turn these lights around?
I think this production is really unique in that we were able to create a big cinema-looking movie at an independent level. We couldn't afford to shoot on 35mm film, so we shot on HD instead and used the Sony Cinealta 900 camera, outfitted with a Pro 35 adapter and Zeiss prime lenses. This allowed us to get 35mm images without the added cost of shooting on film.
We're in the Yellow Glen Sanitarium. This is where Officer Denton meets the doctor and they go down to find the security guard's body down here.
Being that it was digital, it was much easier and fluid to get the footage into the computer for the editing as well as for the visual effects. Even the sound was recorded entirely digitally.
Our audio sound quality is really, really good. A lot of people have told me that I'm the first sound guy they've ever seen using a laptop as part of his setup.
Can you tell I haven't had much sleep?
It has been physically challenging. Hanging upside down in a car and straining and screaming.
Oh, God!
It's very draining, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Shooting the late nights is difficult. Your body never really quite gets used to it.
We actually accomplished a lot just by doing a lot of the work ourselves and planning ahead. In fact, Rob drew over 1,300 storyboards for this film.
Kurt and Dana designed and built the sets, which we shot in their garage. They even custom designed police cars.
Norb came up with a simple but effective way of projecting a background to give the appearance the car is moving using a simple home video projector.
1, 2, 3.
Norb and Rob are so into this, it's awesome. They get our energy up because they're so excited and they've worked on it so much. Having directors who are so into the project makes it easier on the actors.
They're so flexible, so open, so fun, always smiling.
They appreciate everybody's input. It feels like a real collaborative effort with this project.
Rob, the director, was the one who fell down the stairs, who fell down the hill, who fell out the window.
Way up in that.
Action!
Oh yeah! That's the way to end the night.
Basically, it's hurry up and wait. You're ready for some good killings, but then you gotta wait for it. And so you wind up going to the craft service. I've gained like 10 pounds. I mean, a fat clown is not scary. But I try to eat more of the veggies. But then again, they serve it with ranch.
It's just turned into this familia atmosphere. Everybody's doing their job and getting along and having fun.
Action! Being a horror movie, we knew that the makeup demands were going to be tough. We brought on Shelley Clark, who was responsible for the wardrobe and the basic makeup, as well as bruises, scrapes, and scratches. And then to tackle the more graphic makeup, we hired Tim Pearson. He created the latex appliances, the fake thumb, the dummy heads, all those things that were needed for all the elaborate kill scenes.
Frayed was shot entirely in Washington State. The city of Kent, out in Carbonado, Washington, which is out by Mount Rainier National Park. It was also shot at St. Edward State Park in Bothell, Washington. And then we also shot out at Kurt's mother-in-law's house out in Olalla, Washington. On the last week of shooting, we moved to Kurt and Dana's mini farm in Puyallup, Washington. In their garage, they had constructed a soundstage that we used for the interiors of Yellow Glen and the Baker House. At that point, we'd switched from nights to days, which took a toll on the cast and crew, especially us as the directors. Mentally tapped to the limit. Not much left. It's hard to even get up and think about doing another mountain worth of stuff. We gotta keep pressing on, but man, I'm beat right now.
We're the captains of the ship, essentially, day after day, and we can't take a day off. Every decision mounts on us. We have to be thinking not just one shot ahead, but try to get 2, 3, 4 shots ahead. Ready? Half speed it. And action. And then you're gonna have a screwdriver in your left hand.
Oh yeah,
and you're opposed to.
Action! Action!
I'm cold. It's almost 5 in the morning. It's fitting in for this shoot. But I had a great time tonight. Love you guys.
All right, that's a wrap, people. Here we are in Chuck's Auto Service, last day, wrapped.
Looking back, we knew it would be hard, but it's harder than we ever could have possibly imagined.
All you filmmakers out there, listen up. Making an independent film is the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life.
It's the strangest cocktail of pleasure and pain I've ever been through.
I think it's been some of the greatest moments working on anything that I've ever had, and it's also been some of the hardest and most difficult moments at the same time. In the end, all we have to show for this is our film. And when we look back on the experience, that's what's going to make it all come together, because it's been such a labor of love for not just the last month, but for the past 3 years. It's been great going through it with these guys.
It's gonna be a scary movie.
Scary.
Can't wait to go to sleep.
Yes.